So I do have a series of questions for you, but I want to make sure I'm respectful. Is it Ms. Jones or Ms. Wallace-Jones?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Okay, wow. Okay, didn't expect that one.
That was Regina Wallace-Jones, the CEO of ActBlue, under oath, refusing to even clarify her first name. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, that is clearly obstruction of Congress. Now, don't get me wrong, I get that she's there, I get that she's actually testifying on the Hill, but if you are going to Congress, if you're refusing to answer every question, if you came in with the intention of pleading the Fifth for every single question, no matter how innocent, how basic the question is, how is that not obstruction of Congress? Sure, you're technically following the rules, but if you're out there just playing this game, to me, she knows exactly what she's doing here, and she knew it because she actually published an op-ed in the Washington Post this morning. It went live right before her testimony in the Washington Post. Why I will use my Fifth Amendment rights before Congress today. Silence in response to bad faith action is not retreat. It's a bedrock American right. This op-ed, again, written by Regina Wallace-Jones, the CEO of ActBlue. Now, the reason she went to the Hill to testify today is because she's actually made misstatements in front of Congress. And the irony in all of this is she was warned by ActBlue's legal team. She was warned by her own lawyers that she was lying to Congress, but she wrote a letter to them anyways. I think this was back in 2023. And she basically said, oh, ActBlue, we vet all of our donations. Because you see, the federal government doesn't allow any foreign donations. Foreign nationals are not allowed to contribute to our federal elections. And ActBlue is the largest fundraiser for the Democrat Party. And Regina Wallace-Jones assured Congress in writing, oh no, we vet everything. Oh no, we ask for their passports. Oh no, don't worry, no such thing as foreign donations in ActBlue. Turns out that was false, and again, her own lawyers warned her that was false. This was even reported, confirmed by the New York Times here. Miss Wallace-Jones became the target of a House Republican investigation in April when the New York Times reported that ActBlue's lawyers had warned her that she might have misled Congress about how ActBlue vetted its foreign donations. And even the phrasing there, vetted its foreign donations, they're implying, without saying it, that yes, ActBlue, the Democrat Party, does get foreign donations, but it gets even worse here when you consider it, because ActBlue has grown to become the dominant Democratic-funded fundraising platform, building a donor database with millions of credit card numbers, and nearly 23,000 candidates and groups used the site in 2025, ActBlue has said, raising almost $1.8 billion from 52 million contributions. Now, if you actually go back to 2004, that balloons, that explodes to $19 billion. That's right, $19 billion to Democrat candidates, Democrat politicians, whether they're newbies or people running for re-election, and a lot of that money coming from illegal foreign donations. So that's why she was testifying on the Hill today, because she had the opportunity to clarify her statements, to clarify the supposed, the alleged misstatements, to assure Congress that, hey, yeah, ActBlue is actually following federal election law, and that there are no such things as illegal foreign contributions. But she's not doing that. Isn't that interesting? Like, if you and I were being accused of a wrongdoing and we were innocent, if we were under oath testifying before Congress, wouldn't we use that opportunity to clear our names? Wouldn't we actually say, no, here are the facts, or here's what we're doing to prevent said wrongdoing? Especially if we've been briefed by our legal counsel, wouldn't you feel comfortable in defending your name, defending your reputation? So why exactly does Regina Wallace-Jones feel like she needs to plead the Fifth for every single question, even for something as basic as her own name?
Mr. Garcia, in his opening statement, said we're here because Republicans are playing politics. Let's be clear. We're here because ActBlue's legal counsel said Ms. Wallace-Jones lied to Congress, willfully and knowingly misled the Congress of the United States. That's why we're here. Oh, by the way, who was the legal counsel, Covington Burling? Who was her counsel? Dana Remus, not some Republican. She was former White House counsel for Joe Biden. That's who said that. That's why we're here. So I just have a couple questions for you, Ms. Wallace-Jones, just a couple. Your board chairman said ActBlue accepted up to 38 million contributions in 2024 that had the signs of foreign origin. How much fraud is too much fraud?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
How many foreign contributions did ActBlue accept?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
How much money did ActBlue accept from Russia?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Why did your entire legal team quit? Your in-house legal team.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Did your legal team quit because of reduced fraud standards?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Understand. And we won't keep you here all day, but let me just do one more. Did you weaken your fraud standards to help Democrats?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Okay, look, I get that if you are an American citizen, you do have the right to plead the fifth. I get that. That is a constitutional right. But again, if you have the opportunity to clear your name, to clear your organization of any wrongdoing, and you, in fact, are innocent, why wouldn't you take that opportunity, especially before Congress? Did you guys accept any donations from Russia? Well, if you had no donations from Russia, why can't you just say, no, 0 donations from Russia? She can't even say that. Like, how could that possibly screw you over? Yet she is pleading the fifth again and again and again. Look, I get that she came. I get that she's testifying under oath. But if her intention, if her strategy this entire time was to just plead the fifth and not play along, to basically play hardball with Congress, how is that not obstruction of Congress? Look, again, technicalities, right? But she is finding every loophole to get away with this, and it's really sickening here. The reason this is important is because when you take a look at what's happening in LA with Spencer Pratt, or the race even with Steve Hilton, and I get, thank God, he's moving to the runoffs here. But a lot of people still, even after 2020, even after all of the evidence that's come forth, there are so many people in the country that don't believe in voter fraud. They don't believe in stolen elections, right? They just say there's absolutely no evidence, whether it's because they're still plugged into the mainstream media matrix, or because they just haven't done the research for themselves, or they think it's a conspiracy theory. But I think that if you can prove this, if you can prove something at the lowest level, hey, actually, a lot of the Democrat money, a lot of the Democrat fundraising is coming illegally from foreign nationals, from foreign organizations, or heck, even foreign governments, does that not create at least the first building block in convincing people that, hey, something is wrong with our elections here? I think it's the same thing. Look, when I was young, my parents told me, always tell the truth. And even if it's something simple, if we can believe you when you're telling the truth on something simple, then we're way more likely to believe you when you're telling the truth on issues that actually matter. I think the same thing is true when you're at work, right? If your boss can trust you with a simple task, then your boss or manager is more likely to entrust you with a task that's more involved or more complicated. Same thing here when it comes to election security, right? Even though there are people who still don't believe in voter fraud or issues with election security, this is a much simpler ask, right? Hey, can you just consider the possibility that the Democrat Party is benefiting from illegal foreign donations? The paper trail is much clearer. Here, we are dealing with a singular organization, ActBlue. We're dealing with a singular figure at the very top who is, at the very best, acting cagey and appearing suspicious. I mean, who in the world would watch Regina Wallace-Jones on the stand there pleading the fifth to her own name and say, oh, that right there is an honest person. That right there is someone I would trust 100%. That right there is a person I would trust and bet my life on. Seriously, who would say that? So even though this might not be the issue, this might not be the day or the hearing on the Hill that busts the floodgates wide open, I think it could be a building block that eventually leads more people to open their eyes. So at the very least, it is yet another straw on the camel's back. Again, the irony in all of this is she really was busted by the lawyers at ActBlue. This is a look, the legal counsel, outside legal counsel, warning her, hey, you're actually lying to Congress here, and she just ignored all of them.
Democratic fundraising platform ActBlue is now facing allegations that its leadership intentionally misled Congress regarding its safeguards against illegal foreign donations, despite warnings from its own legal team. The National News Desk, Jeff Harris, joins us to break it all down. You've been digging into these new allegations, Jeff, which stem from an explosive report by the New York Times. What are the details?
So ActBlue and its CEO, Regina Wallace-Jones, are now facing allegations that they potentially misled Congress regarding the platform's safeguards against illegal foreign donations. In a bombshell new report, the New York Times revealing Wallace-Jones may have provided inaccurate information to the House Administration Committee, claiming in this 2023 letter to Congress that the Democratic fundraising platform used multi-layered screenings to root out all foreign donations, but internal memos from the law firm Covington and Burling, who is outside legal counsel for ActBlue, reportedly warned that these claims were not fully accurate.
They told them, it is very possible that you could be legally liable for misleading Congress about what ActBlue was doing.
Not only were those claims she made inaccurate, but it turns out that the legal team left because of ActBlue flat out disobeying those safeguards. They were allowing foreign donations to come in. Now, before we dive into all of that, I would like to acknowledge the members of today's Governor's Club. They are Moonfairy 11, Ding Xiaoping, Peach Saint Scraffet, and Siwa Chan. These are people who give tips and super thanks to the channel. I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you enjoy it. Well, there was this official House staff report, and in it they write the following: documents produced pursuant to the committee's subpoenas show the collapse of ActBlue's legal and compliance team in the months after the 2024 election. By March 2025, every member of ActBlue's legal and compliance team resigned, was fired, or went on extended leave from the platform. Why did they do that? Well, according to subsequent media reports, this mass exodus was a direct consequence of ActBlue's failure to deter illegal foreign political donations, which committees first uncovered in April 2025. So their own internal teams decided to leave. They scattered like cockroaches when they realized, oh, hey, this organization is not legit. Hey, we're actually breaking federal law, and who knows? We don't want to get in trouble, so just adios, amigos. We're out of here. That does not look good for ActBlue at all. And what really just tickles me here is clearly Regina Wallace-Jones has no respect for the legal counsel, right? Because she consulted with them. They said, hey, these are misstatements. You would be lying to Congress. And still, she submitted that 3-page letter to them in 2023. A 3-page letter, that's not just something, when you're talking, you can at least say, oh, I accidentally misspoke, or that was a slip of the tongue, or oh, that was a poor choice of words. But when it's a written letter, that takes a lot of thought. And usually at this level, you're rereading the letters or you're having someone else write it. It clearly went through multiple teams, and she still decided to submit that letter to Congress. So she didn't listen to the legal team then. Why in the world is she listening to her legal team now? Oh, under the advice of my legal team, I plead the fifth. Someone please make it make sense. So one last clip I want to show you. The worst part for Regina and ActBlue is that the House committee actually discovered this internal memo. So this was the official policy of ActBlue. And it was, even if someone legitimate was using a fake name, ActBlue would accept their donation. Get that? That is in writing. It is from a memo. If they're using a fake name, we're still going to take their money. Of course, she didn't answer this question or address this accusation. She pleaded the fifth. She did that a total of 22 times, but this is really telling here.
Your company's memo states, and I quote, "If an otherwise legitimate donor uses a fake name, we would want to accept their donation," end quote. Can you confirm whether this is the advice that you give to your employees?
On the advice of counsel,
Yeah, she pleads the fifth yet again, a total of 22 times. If you have nothing to hide, why are you pleading the fifth at all? As always, though, all of this is just my analysis and commentary. That's what's happening in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So, do you think something will actually come from this hearing today, or are you worried that this is yet just another dog and pony show? It's just another show trial and nothing will actually happen or come of it. Let me know your thoughts, your predictions down in the comments below. Look, I think it's really easy to feel like nothing comes from these hearings, but a lot of these representatives are already on the record saying, hey, no, we've issued subpoenas, we are enforcing all of these, and if they don't cooperate, we are going to recommend that the DOJ take this case up. And I hope that's what happens. I hope that with Todd Blanche or whoever the new team at the DOJ is going to end up being, I hope that they do bust the floodgates wide open and expose not just what's happening in ActBlue, but anything that is corrupt in our elections systems. If you haven't already, please be sure to leave me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.